So let's have the signs of our related acute angles in the different quadrants. So we have our sine, cosine, and tangent in the first, second, third, and fourth. We will get only the sign, whether our sine, cosine, and tangent, if they are positive or negative. So it depends upon the quadrant. So we have here only the related acute angles. We have a theta here, first quadrant is here, second, third, and fourth. We have here a triangle for the theta. I have another triangle in the second quadrant, a triangle in the third, and a triangle in the fourth. Let's have the triangle in the first quadrant. In the first quadrant, class, this is the hypotenuse and this is the radius of our circle. This one is the radius of our circle, which is moving in counterclockwise direction. Let's have first the positive angles. This one is our x and this one is positive. This side is positive for the first quadrant and positive for the fourth quadrant of these two triangles. Now this one is going up, so this one is positive. But this one is going down, therefore this one is treated as negative because it is going down, negative. The hypotenuse, which is the radius, is always plus. So we can put positive on the hypotenuse of our triangle because that is the radius. Okay, all positive. Now, on the second quadrant here, now this side is going to the left, meaning this one is negative. So this side for this triangle and this triangle is negative. This one is going up, therefore this one is positive. This one is going down, therefore this one is negative. Now, we have already all the signs here. Now we are ready to find the sign of these functions in the first, second, third, and fourth. Let's have sine in the first quadrant here. So the sine is opposite there over hypotenuse. It is this one. So this one is positive, which is the opposite, over the hypotenuse, which is also positive. So the result here is positive. Right. Cosine here, first quadrant. Cosine is adjacent, which is this side here, which is positive, over the hypotenuse, which is always positive. So positive over positive is positive. And then tangent here is opposite, which is positive, over the adjacent, which is also positive. So here our sign of tangent is positive. So in the first quadrant, all the 6 trigonometric functions are all positive. Okay. Now let's have the signs in the second quadrant. Second quadrant, sine. So sine is opposite, which is positive here, over the hypotenuse, and that is always positive. So we have here sine is positive in the second quadrant. What about the cosine in the second quadrant? Cosine is adjacent, which is now negative here, over the hypotenuse, which is positive. Okay, what is negative over positive in division unlike sines? That one is negative. So our cosine here, the second quadrant, is negative. About tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the opposite of this one is the positive here, over the adjacent, which is negative here. So our tangent in the second quadrant is negative. Third quadrant here, we have a negative here, and positive here. Right, sine. Sine is opposite. Opposite is negative here. Over the hypotenuse is positive. So we have negative over positive, unlike sine and division is negative. So sine in the third quadrant is negative. Cosine here. Cosine is adjacent, which is negative here, over the hypotenuse, which is positive here. So our cosine, the third quadrant, is negative. Tangent here. Tangent theta is opposite, which is the negative here, over the adjacent. The adjacent is this one, which is negative. So negative over negative in division is positive. So our tangent, the third quadrant, is positive. Last quadrant, the fourth quadrant. So we have sine. Sine is opposite, which is negative here, divided by the hypotenuse, which is positive. Therefore, our sine in the fourth quadrant is negative. Cosine here. So for cosine here is adjacent, which is positive here, over the hypotenuse, which is positive here. So positive over positive is positive. So the cosine in the fourth quadrant is positive. Last is the tangent. Tangent is opposite. This one is the opposite, which is negative, over the adjacent side, which is positive here. So negative over positive is negative. So our tangent in the fourth quadrant is negative. Now, to easily remember the signs of these three functions in the first, second, third, and fourth quadrant, let's have this one. For first quadrant, second, and the third. So it's the third. Third, and then fourth. You just always remember that here all functions are all positive. All functions positive. And here we have sine. Sine is positive. So we have sine here. And then tangent, tangent, positive here. Of course, that's the first. They are all. And then the third quadrant. So you put here the tangent. And for cosine, yes, positive, and the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, so we have C. So it's just cast word. It means that A is all functions are positive. S means sine is the only positive function here, the second quadrant. Tangent and cosine, they are negative here. This one, tangent is the only function that is positive here, but sine and cosine, they are negative. And here, only the cosine function is positive here, and the sine and the tangent, they are negative here. So, this one is easy to remember than using our table. You don't memorize a table. If you don't want a table, or this one, then you can draw your, like a butterfly diagram, put plus, and then use your sine, cosine, tangent, okay?